South Park had a seemingly impossible task to tackle the year 2020. What was the final result? Well, it was absolutely insane. From the beginning, anyone would understand that the pandemic special is different from your usual South Park episode. For one, it's a supersized double-length special that hasn't been seen in the show's history. Also, in the beginning disclaimer, they replaced the final line with a casual nod to how it shouldn't be watched because of COVID-19. We didn't even get an opening. Why? Because they needed to get to the real meat of the show right away. 2020 is the kind of year where it genuinely feels like we've been living through the extremes of South Park, except, you know, it's reality. This has been a nightmare for the entire world for more than a few different reasons, and we finally had the chance to sit back and relax with some small town adventures. South Park manages to serve as an escape from our world, while actually making us laugh about the whole thing. Even in the darkest times, there's room to smile, and that's what the pandemic special was all about, while still revealing that nobody is alone in how they feel. In the episode's opening moments, we jump right into the midst of the pandemic, and Randy reveals he has a new product for Tegrity Farms. It's Randy being Randy as usual, going through a meta-narrative about South Park, and if the show can really do anything to make people happy in this mess of a year. So then we get this fun little intro of Cartman's musical number, since he's happy he doesn't have to actually go to school anymore. Of course, things can't stay like this forever, and events soon spiral out of control in classic South Park and 2020 fashion. If there's a major topic you can think of from the last few months, there's a pretty good chance they had a message or a joke about that. Classes on Zoom, dumb people who think masks don't work, cops taking over, and well, everything else in this dumpster fire of a year. Not only that, but the real life and show events blends together for something I doubt any one of us saw coming. In the previous season, Randy went to China and did some questionable things, eventually realizing that he started the pandemic. It's a nice storyline throughout the special, with South Park offering its own charm instead of just copying and pasting what happened in our world. Something I loved about the pandemic special is its massive scale. Yeah, this is an hour-long episode, so you already know it's gonna be bigger than the usual story, but this really did everything right. A ton of characters got their time to shine, whether it be the adults panicking about what was happening, what new school looks like with all the kids, or even how the South Park version of Trump, Mr. Garrison, is dealing with the situation. You might be wondering, why did we get to see pretty much every aspect of the town? Because the pandemic is something that affects anyone and everyone in one way or another. The entire status quo of the town has changed and will never be the same, much like how it feels for us in real life. The Grim Reaper shows up at various points throughout the episode, reminding everyone that if they go outside and take risks with everyday things, they won't be safe. Death is looming over everyone's heads, and it's scary. South Park makes jokes about the situation because that's just how the show is, but there's still a lot of darkness to be found here. No matter what though, we are never alone in how we feel about the pandemic because it's affecting everyone. Each resident has their own feelings about what's going on, but I think a lot of people can especially relate to Stan. After everyone gets trapped in school, he gradually starts losing hope in the world and doesn't know what to do. He says he has to help Butters when it's clear that the obstacles he faces are his own dark thoughts. And alright, that's where we get to the final few minutes of the pandemic special, where everything comes to a climax. At this point of the episode, you might be wondering, how is South Park going to fix all of this? How can we get a satisfying resolution to the episode? Well, it all comes down to finding a possible cure with this pangolin, and the characters act on their own motivation. Cartman wants to return to Zoom classes, Randy wants to hide the fact that he caused the pandemic, and then there's Stan. He reveals the truth he's been facing for so long.
I just want my life back.
Cartman decides to keep the pangolin safe and hands him over to the people who can find a cure. For once in this never-ending darkness, there's actual hope. They may not return to their old normal, but by working together, oh, and then Garrison Trump does that.
Don't forget to get out and vote, everybody. Big election coming up.
The hope is shattered. The Grim Reaper reminds us that death is still at every corner. And so, when the curtains close on South Park's first supersized episode, there's no real resolution for what happened. When we're dealing with a show that's so interconnected with our world, an ending like this is pretty much the only path they could have taken. The truth of the matter is that we don't know what happens next. The foreseeable future is unknown, and we don't know if life will ever return to the normal it once was. There is seemingly no end in sight, and South Park represents represents the idea well. If you ask me, I think the special is the best episode in a long time for a few different reasons. Number 1, it was genuinely funny. We need a good laugh now more than ever. Number 2, it bounced the entire town in a way where we got to see everyone. Number 3, it helps show that you're not alone. I know I mentioned this before, but it's something everyone should hear. South Park is something incredibly special, and I think this episode is a must-watch. It helps lighten the mood of the pandemic while still keeping everything real. I know 2020 is rough, and there may not be a bright light at the end of the tunnel, but we are in this together. But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.